Hey guys, Jacob here from Delta Logic, and today I want to show you step-by-step tutorial how to integrate Amazon data to a BI tool such as Looker Studio in this particular case, but obviously it doesn't have to be Looker Studio, it can be Power BI and some other BI tools. So today I want to show you how to do it step by step without any third-party integrations. We'll be actually registering to the advertisement API, will be writing Python code that pulls the report from the ads API and then parse it and puts it to Google Sheets, and from the Google Sheets we'll actually connect to Looker Studio, right? So step number one is to register to the advertisement API. Before we start, I just want to let you know a little bit about Delta Logic. So Delta Logic is a custom software agency fully dedicated to building tools around Amazon and other marketplaces. And in particular, if you're watching this tutorial, you probably are interested in building some PPC tool, a reporting solution for your clients, or maybe getting more into Amazon Marketing Cloud. All of this is possible, and we can definitely help you here. As you worked already with hundreds of clients, having a team of 20 engineers allows us to build any tool in the industry. We're Amazon verified partners, so if you're interested, let us know in the comments or contact us directly at contact@deltalogic.com or visit our website deltalogic.com. Let's continue with the video. We are here on the official documentation of the advertisement API. So let's go for the overview. So Amazon Advertisement API. As I said in the previous video, this is the REST API that allows us to programmatically connect to the advertisement console and get data from there or push the data back there, right? And what does it mean? You can manipulate the advertisement, for example, set up the bids, you can generate the reports, then afterwards you can display them, you can create the PPC tools, and so on. All of the biggest tools that are industry, like Perpetua, Helium 10 tools, Jungle Scout tools, are basically tools related to advertisement. All of those companies, they use the advertisement API. So if you want to build those tools or something similar, you need to learn how to use the API. And yes, in order to connect, pretty much you have to do three things. So how to establish a client application. You need to do first, create a login with Amazon application. So all of the requests to Amazon Advertisement API are made by a client application administered by login with Amazon. The client application is free to create and no approval is required to this step. So the step number one is pretty clear. Step number two, this is actually harder because you need to apply for permission to access to the API and Amazon has to approve it. And here they say that the approval might take up to 72 hours. We actually did it only once, and now it's super simple because we can connect multiple clients' accounts to one account and basically have access to them through the API. So if you are, for example, running Amazon agency, you just have to do it once, and then you can create a lot of features around that and request data or push it back to the client's accounts through an account pretty much. Then you have to assign API access to your login with Amazon application, and once your application is approved, you'll enable your client application to make requests to the API. Let's do it. First step, you need to create a login with application. And click here. So create a login with application. I won't be going in such a detail into the whole process, that you can do it on your own, or if you want help, you can always reach out to us. We actually did it multiple times, so it shouldn't be the problem, but for sake of this video, I want to focus mostly on the programmatic way and show you what's possible with code. However, still, I'll show you a few things here. So register with Amazon developer. You have a link here, developer, Amazon developer. Actually log in here. Okay, so I'm actually logged in. Once you're logged in, you should go to login with Amazon console, and here you'll actually, let me go back to the documentation. So once you have your account, you'll have to create a new LWS security profile. This is something I have here. I'll just click here to create a new one. You'll put your name, your description, your URL, and once you have it, you actually see it here. And then, of course, you'll have to show your client ID and client secret that we will need later on to make the successful requests into the API. So once we have this, you'll have to retrieve your security credentials. This is something I just showed you a moment ago, and go to the next step. So the next step is the hardest, I think, because you need to apply for Amazon Advertisement API access, right? And they will tell you here in documentation how to do it. You have to do it through the Amazon Ads Partner Network. Again, I have actually an account here, so I won't be able to apply again. But pretty much, so as you see here, I have actually multiple client accounts here, and my main one, Delta Logic. You'll have to apply for the API access as a partner or as a direct advertiser. This is basically up to you. Okay, so step number 3 is assign API access to login with Amazon application. This is a little bit tougher, and I won't be able to show it to you since I already have my refresh token to all of our client accounts, and I don't want to regenerate it, because then of course all of the clients' accounts will fail. But basically you have to follow those steps. If you need help, let me know in the comments or reach out directly to us, and our CTO or one of our developers will be able to actually help you with this process. But yeah, pretty much once you have it, you will also need to add the seller account to the advertisement API, and you can do it actually just by going to administrator, account access and settings, linked accounts. And as you see here, we have all of our clients linked accounts to our main one, and that's why we can actually access their advertisement data through our credentials. So you should link the account, invite your seller account to your advertisement account, and then a seller should get the email with it, with the invitation, and you'll have it actually linked together. And also, just as an interesting fact, if you are actually applying to become a verified partner or advanced partner, this is also how they go through your ad spend. They go through all of the linked accounts here. So that's why Amazon agencies, they are usually the ones who are verified or advanced partners, because they have a lot of client accounts connected to one big advertisement account. All right, so let's start with the API itself. Let's first maybe talk about different URL prefixes for your region. And this particular video will be just using one of those. I'll have to actually think which one I want to show you, maybe US or maybe Europe, but those are the URLs. It's quite similar that SP API has. They also have different URLs for different marketplaces, but here in advertisement just less, because you have general EU one. You don't have like a Poland, Germany, and so on. You just have the European one. And now let's jump directly to code. All right, guys, so once we have access to the API, now it's time to actually start writing Python code to do something with it, right? Like authenticate, get the access key, get the clients that are assigned to your profile, and obviously download the report. So let's start doing it. Let me start with creating Python environment and setting everything up. So I like using Python, but obviously you can just set up simple Python environment. Doesn't have to be that complex, right? So now we have our Python environment with 2 files, pyfile log. If you're using venv, then you'd have the venv, and if you're using different programming language, obviously that would be different there as well. So it's just a simple step. I'll create 2 files, script.py and keys.py. And I use my favorite code editor. In my case, is PyCharm, but you can use VS Code or something else. Okay, so to keys.py, those are the credentials from the advertisement console. Please put them here. And now for the script.py, you can also run the terminal from here. I'll import a couple of libraries. We'll actually have to install them. So one is just Gsprit. This is for the Google Sheets. I'll talk about it a little bit more later once we go to this point. Now let's import our libraries. So we use the Gsprit request. We use the pipprint for the nice printing function. And then from the keys, we'll import client ID, client secret, refresh token. And for typing, we'll use the list. We use time gz actually for later on to parse our response from the advertisement API, and then the JSON also. You will see a similar case. So let's start by creating the main function in Python. We'll need it. And then let's start with doing the function called script, right, where our main logic will be. So we'll do it like this. Now, a couple of steps. First, the most important is getting the access token. We need the access token basically to do any of the requests to the advertisement API. Later on, access token, this is something that expires. So at your code base, if this is like more complex application, obviously you need to have the logic that handles refreshing this access token as well. Let's start by doing the get access token function. All right, so for getting the access token, here we see we need to do this kind of request, right? This is the URL, and here we have different variables, right? And then we'll get the access token back. So, all right, so we have our access token. Now we can test it right away. So we'll actually have this print access token. We can do it here. Access token, let's do it. So as we see, this worked, so means we have our access token working, we have access to the advertisement API. Now the second thing we need is actually profile ID, right? Especially when you are handling multiple advertisement account, you'll have a lot of different profile IDs, and since you want to do reporting to all of them, you would normally iterate over all of them. However, in this video, what I only care about one profile ID, about one account. Therefore, I will retrieve this right now and I will show you how to do it. This is actually the next step here in the documentation. As you see, you would need to get the profile of the account that you want to do, right? So this is, for example, the sample response. All right, let me actually show you. So we would need access token. This is the URL headers. Now, as you see, we all need the access token and the client ID. And then this is the response. So normally we do it like this. Normally, let me do it like this. So normally you would see, oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot to put the access token. Okay. So as you see here, I get a lot of different profile IDs, and obviously what I care is actually just one that I already picked. So I'll just hard code this in code, and we won't use this function anymore. So I'll actually just import this from here. Okay, so I will just import the profile ID, select the profile ID. I don't have to do it like this. I know this is redundancy. I just build the functions so they work like that. So I thought that by recording this video, this will be just simple. So normally what you would do is you would get the get profile ID. You would pick the profile ID from this function, from the response.text, right? You'd have to do something like profile ID from the list, right? So for example, like 0 and then profile ID, right? So that would be, for example, your profile ID, or you'd iterate over this and then you'd return it. And then you'd, of course, get it from here, assign the variable or iterate over like big for loop, and that's how you would do it. But anyway, we have our selected profile ID, and now we will get the report data. For the report data, okay, so we have this advertised product here, and we have the sponsor product. Report, those are the base metrics. Here you have the request, right? How to do it, what kind of parameters you would need to add, and I will do it. We have the URL, we have the request body, we have the headers, client ID, the profile ID, access token. Now this is the request that we have to do. Now we would need to print the response, and now what we do is we are printing the response.json. There are multiple different fields as the response. What we are interested in is the report ID, because once we have the report ID, we want to do the request for the URL of this report. And in order to do it, you need to kind of wait, since this actually takes some time. Like Amazon is processing your data to prepare you the report, and we'll actually right now create a logic that is in a while loop and basically do the request to ask if the report is ready. And if it's ready, then obviously we'll return it and we'll parse it and so on to the list in Python. But if it's not ready, then we'll have to wait and do the request again. So here we'll get link once it's ready, right? Now let me create this function here. Now to check the report, we need to do reporting reports and get the report ID, get the headers, and now the logic. So we'll have the report URL known. While the report is known, so the whole condition is true, we'll iterate it here. So let me translate it to you. First, we are sending the get request, sending the get request with the URL body, get the response. From the response, we want to check the URL, and if the URL is actually not known, but it's actually it has the string in it, then we will break the while loop. And of course, here there's like just additional condition that if we already got it, we don't have to wait additional 30 seconds, right? Because if you get it here, then it wouldn't break here since there's a waiting time. So I just added this as a special condition so we can end faster. And we'll return it. Okay. So that's how this looks here. Now let's use it here. Now we'll get this report URL. We'll do the request to it. So as you will see, this function, it gives you back the link to the report itself. It's in a special gzip format. So normally in a browser, you would go there and you would download it as a gzip format and you would have to unpack it and then open it. But we want to have it all automatically done here in Python. So therefore, I will add the decompress function and decode function. So first decompress and then decode. So from the bytes, we will actually transform it to the UTF-8, and then we'll actually use a JSON.load to transform those bytes in a UTF format already, right? So the string, and we'll transform it to the actual list in Python, right? So this is a few step process. And this is how this looks like, right? So first we decompress the content from the response with this function. So this would be normally in a PC, like just unpacking the gzip, and then we decode the bytes to UTF-8, which means string in a Python, and then JSON.loads, this parses the string to the actual list of dictionaries. So let's return it. And now let me show you how this works. So let's run it. So we're doing the request. We got the actual, we did the request for the report. We got the report ID, and now report ID, we check this is known, means that the actual report is not done yet. It's actually pending. So we are waiting for the report URL. I put 30 seconds. So I'll just speed up this video. Okay, we did it again. It's still waiting. It's not done yet. All right, so as you saw here, we got the report ID. Let me go here. This is the URL link, right? So normally, if I click on it, this would download the JSON GZ, right? So this is the format. So that's why we had to do a special request and unpack it. Therefore, later on, we had it as an actual list of dictionaries. So here at this point, at this stage, we have our list of dictionaries. So now it's time to set up the Google Sheets and put the data there. All right, so you remember that in the video I mentioned Jsprit. This is the library for Python and for the API for Google Sheets, right? So in order to install it, you need to use this function pip install Jsprit, and then this is basically a quick example of working with the Google Sheets. But now they actually give you a nice they give you a nice tutorial on how to do it, right? So what we care the most is for bots using the service account, we need to do a couple of steps. So first of all, we have to create the new project. So let me create a new one. I will call it ads report GS. Okay, let's create it. It takes a moment. So we created a new project. Now we have to search for APIs and services, search for Google Drive API and Sheets API. So first we go to Google Drive API, and we have to enable it. Now we have to go to Google Sheets API. And also enable it, right? So, all right, those both are now enabled, and now we need to go and get the credentials. So we are in APIs and services, go to credentials, create credentials, service account name. I'll put the ads API GS. So this is our email that we'll have to invite in actually Google Sheets in a moment. To go to keys, add key, create new key. I'll do the JSON and create. Okay, and now we actually download this here. We have our JSON file. Let's maybe rename it so it's easier. GS keys JSON. The second thing is to actually create a Google Sheet. So let's go, and keep in mind this is the service account. Now we need to invite the Google Sheets. Advertisements, so ads GS, that's the easiest, right? And then we have to share it. So we have to share it with this email that we had, right? So it has the access to it. All right, so let's go back here. We have it all. Let's go back to actual coding. So we'll have the function here. Let's call it put data to GS. Now, first thing is the header, right? So this is our header. Those are the names. Now we need to authenticate. So file is not keys but gskeys.json. We need to open the spreadsheet. So we named it ads.gs. So let's put it here. @gs, get the first worksheet, number 0, it doesn't have to be the name. Now the logic to write the header, so this is the header, writing it if it's empty, since it's empty. And now we are passing the list of dictionaries here, so therefore all we have to do is we have to iterate over this list, right? And then append each row basically here. So what I'm doing is I'm converting this list of dictionaries and I'm just extracting the values from it in the specific order, right? So this is not dictionary anymore, and then we are inserting those rows. I'm pretty sure this library has some other function that probably handles the list of dictionaries right away. However, I just want to do it this way, right? So this should all work right now. Let's actually test our function. So as you see, this worked. Let me clean the whole thing. And now let's do it as it should work. So we are getting the report data, and now we are passing the report data here. So let's do it like this, and yeah, let's wait till it's done. All right, and it's done. So now the last part is pretty much to put the data from the Google Sheets to Looker Studio, right? So this is one of the ways of doing it. There are multiple different ways of doing it, but let's jump to my screen again. So we are here. This is the data we just pull from the Ads API. Now let's go to the Looker Studio. Let's create a new file, new report. And now as you see here, you have different Google connectors, right? The one that we will use today is actually Google Sheets, but obviously it doesn't have to be. It can go strictly from the database, for example, right? If we are about to put our data from code basically to the database, then you can, of course, later on get it from the database directly. But in our case, let's use the Google Sheets. We'll use the ads sheet. Right now, let's get this here. It might be that the sheet is actually different from previous, but this is the one that we were working on. And now this is that simple, guys. This is that simple, right? So we have our main dashboard here. You can modify, you can add more data sources here, just to dimension, right? Like I'm just adding like kind of random one, but I just wanted to show you that you can modify your dashboard here. And for example, I mean, if you're a seller running your own shop on Amazon, then this might be something good if you want to like have a nice glance. But if you're the agency, it might be that you need to modify this code. You need to iterate over all of your clients and then create different report Looker Studio files for each of them, right? And then provide them with the weekly or monthly reporting, right? You can add different charts. Pretty much once you are here, there are limitless opportunities that you can do, right? So you can change the dimension, for example, to have it, say, let's pick a sales, right? And then you can aggregate it, not with the record, not the number, but let's do, for example, costs and sum it, right? You can have different aggregated data. And I will just show you real quickly a different example of something we've built. This is actually in a Power BI, so different BI tool. But once you have a data connected, there are limitless possibilities to build your dashboard for clients, right? You can build pretty amazing thing here and show all of the things that Seller Central or like advertisement, actually in this case, won't give you. However, it might be that you also combine it with the sales data, right? So you might need to combine SP API and advertisement API all together, save it, for example, in a database, or like you can have multiple different Google Sheets and then build a powerful reporting tool without paying monthly. I know that there's a lot of tools that you pay monthly, and you don't have to. You can just build it once. Like you can hire a freelancer or agency like us, pay us once, and then you don't have to pay monthly for it, right? Like you just build it once, so over time for all of your clients, it might be worth an investment. Alright guys, so that was it for this video. As you see, we actually covered multiple things, from registering to advertisement API, building a sample Python script that pulls the data, push it to Google Sheets, and then actually combining, like getting the actual data source as a Google Sheet, and just showing you how easy it is to actually create like a sample dashboard, right? So again, there are endless opportunities and possibilities. If you actually want to build something more robust and complex, let us know in a comment. We'll be happy to help. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.